I can't stop thinking about Nate Pearson pitching on opening day 2023. Man, I'm in. I'm back on the hype train. Let's go.
That is going to be how the winter meetings wrap up, is the Rule 5 draft. Now, for those of you unaware of what the Rule 5 is, when minor league players hit a certain amount of service time within an organization, they are now eligible to be almost redrafted. It's a second draft almost. But the
It's a
trick
use
is
it or lose it situation.
it's a use it or lose it situation. So you're allowed to go and kind of pilfer other people's organizations and take their prospects that aren't being used within the big league system. But the trick is they need to stay on your big league roster for a full year. Some Blue Jays fans may remember this being the case with Joe Biagini and Elvis Luciano. Of course, this doesn't always work out. Elvis, he made it all the way through, became a part of the Blue Jays system, never saw the big leagues again. He was actually just released by the Jays recently. So to roll of the dice, we've watched guys like Jordan Romano get taken in the Rule 5 draft. He went to Texas, didn't get through a full season, was returned to the Blue Jays system. Right. And you can also draft the Rule 5 guy, and then instead of sending him back to the team, you can work out a trade. So there are different ways of going about this Rule 5. The reason that the Rule 5 is important is it kind of shapes up what these organizations are doing. And some of you may have even heard all the talk about the Tampa Bay Rays seriously shopping some of their major league pitching. And one of the reasons they're doing that, I mean, I don't think there's a more confident organization when it comes to their player development and scouting staff and their ability to kind of predict how their prospects are going to progress.
Mm-hmm.
So all the talk about the Tampa Bay Rays is that they're going to move pitching off their major league roster to fill with these guys that might be picked up in Rule 5 draft from other organizations, which is the most Rays thing you could possibly do.
So we have pitchers who are pitching well, who are probably going to get a contract soon. Let's get rid of them and pilfer prospects that we believe in that other organizations don't.
100%.
And of course, it's going to work. And of course, it's going to work. Not to mention all the stuff they'll bring back in the trades of trading away those arms, right?
Oh, yeah. So friend of the show, this is funny because friend of the show, Jolly Olive, right? Really fun dude. He of course runs the Shea Station podcast there for the Mets, and he's under the John Boy umbrella and makes some really great content on dudes you probably wouldn't think that they would be highlighted. So if you ever get a chance to check out Jolly Olive, definitely do so on YouTube. But he had a tweet where he was like, oh God, there's talk that the Mets are in talks with the Rays. So we're going to get screwed again. Right. And it's just, It's hard as like a fan who watches baseball all the time and knows what the Rays can do to hear that they're talking to your organization. You're like, this can't work out well.
You know what? This is what we should do with our catching situation, is we should go to the Rays, see who they're most interested in, and then cross that guy off our list and go,
yes,
nope, Danny Jansen is untradeable because the Rays want him the most, or whoever the name might be.
Get into trade talks with the Rays just to find out who they're after, and then that's it. We're not doing this.
Oh, we just solved baseball, Scott. This is what we got to do. It's amazing.
So the Blue Jays did add some players to their 40-man roster. Once a player is on the 40-man roster, you are protected from the Rule 5 draft, and teams cannot take that guy, right? You're on the big league roster. Yeah. The big surprise was Nathan Lukes. Okay, he finished the season at AAA last year with the Buffalo Bison. Versatile guy. He plays some center field. He plays some left field. He bit of a utility type of guy. He hits left. He's got some speed. Lots of reasons to try and keep Nathan Lukes within the organization, although he doesn't really project as a guy who most likely is going to be an everyday player. You never know who's going to step up and take a spot, but it was interesting to see them protect a guy who
Nice.
is a fringe.
It's a feather in the cap. It's a good signal of
Yeah,
confidence in
great
a
for
young
great for
prospect.
Luke's.
Good for
Great for
Luke's.
Luke's.
Just seeing the live chat here, a funny comment that made me laugh. Simon says, hashtag use it or lose it. Hashtag Cialis. I sense a key sponsorship coming. So there you go. The Rule 5 draft brought to you by Cialis. Use it or lose it.
That use it or lose it. We're going to transition a little bit here into the fact that once the Rule 5 draft is done and the winter meetings are over, we're going to see some movement. We're going to be able to start to hopefully predict which direction the Jays are going to take. I know that we talked a lot about how important it is for them to go out and get a big time reliever. And it doesn't look like that's probably going to be what they do in free agency. I'm not saying, I think that if they are going to bolster their bullpen, it will be through trade. It might even be from within. There are a couple of guys who do have that high strikeout, high velo thing going on right now, both of which were injured throughout the 2022 minor league season. Of course, I'm talking about Big Nate Pearson. This is a guy no Blue Jays fan wants to see us put any sort of hope into.
I can see the thumbnail being built in my head right now. Nate Pearson, our savior in 2023. Let's go. Right.
And the other guy to keep an eye out that very well could be at the back end of this Blue Jays bullpen by the end of the 2023 season is friend of the show, Hagen Danner, Haggy D, who, by the way, is going to be returning to the show in December. I know we were chatting with him on Instagram there. He just finished up the Arizona Fall League. He had himself some incredible numbers. He finished, I forget what his whip was. It was under 1. I think it was 0.8, but his ERA was about 3.5, and he allowed all those runs in his first game, a game that was the first time he pitched all season. And then he was just lights
settled
out.
Right in.
And settled right in. I know friend of the show, Brandon Delaney, he, of course, is the prospect king when it comes to this Blue Jays system. He follows it very, very closely. A very tedious job that he is doing here, but he seems to manage to kind of comb through all the minor league systems, comb through the Arizona Fall League, comb through the Dominican League, keep everyone apprised as to what's going on within this Blue Jays system. Something that you and I mean, we've tried to do rankings things before, Adam, and realize like a tip of the hat to anyone who's compiling these numbers.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. You don't come to us for the research and the data. We are conversation and community. So we'll copy someone else's homework any day of the week. There we go. Nate Pearson, though, is once again frustrating all of us by being good in the minor leagues. Is good in the minor leagues an understatement, honestly, at this point?
This winter ball season, I guess, for lack of a better term, I know it's only about a month and a half here, but this Dominican winter ball league that he's playing in, he currently has yet to allow a run. The guy has been a strikeout machine, and you watch him pitch. And again, if you would like to see some clips of him, Brendan Delaney at B Delaney on Twitter has actually taken the time to make these clips and show his strikes. The kid has hubris, buddy. He is confident right now. I haven't seen this sort of confidence in Nate Pearson since they were interviewing him about how he's going to accept his Hall of Fame induction.
Right? On MLB Network, of course.
On MLB Network. So it will be really interesting to see what the Blue Jays do here with the bullpen in particular. And I know that there's already Blue Jays fans that are freaking out a little bit. There's already Blue Jays fans you see online that are saying things like, this is going to happen again. The bullpen's not going to be addressed. I mean, it is concerning because They haven't done anything in the last 2 years to the extent that maybe a lot of fans would like. But also, let's reel it in a little bit here, gang. We're like, what is it, like 9 days after the World Series was won? Like, let's just hit the brakes. This isn't a disaster. Just because Edwin Diaz, Montero, and Suarez are off the books,
What do you
it
mean?
does not mean
I can't stop thinking about Nate Pearson pitching on opening day 2023. Man, I'm in. I'm back on the hype train. Let's go.
We really appreciate all of you within the walk-off community. This thing continues to grow and become an animal of its own. It's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, we love talking Blue Jays baseball and all the interaction that you folks are involved with us. Thank you so much. Discord, feel free to join it. That is always free. The show, or the link is in the show notes. You can follow us on Twitter at Walk Off Podcast, on Instagram, the Walk Off Podcast. And if you are watching on YouTube currently and you're not subscribed, we'd really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button. All the best, everybody. Cheers.